and his driver, Francis Benga, last December. In all, 8 alleged armed robbers were paraded for the identification exercise, with most of them wearing masks. 4 victims of the armed robbery attack were also disguised with spectacles and cloth to cover their face to identify the suspects. The victims took a closer look at the suspects before asking them questions in order to identify their voices as well. At the end, Bura was able to identify 3 of the robbers, who were all Fulanis. Bartholomew spoke to Joy News about the exercise, explaining he is relieved after he was able to identify his attackers and is hoping that justice will prevail.
When they arrested me, the way one of them walked to me with a gun, I was able to recognize the same way. That was why I asked that he should walk briskly. And once he did that, I was able to identify. That's the first issue. Secondly, the language they were speaking, they spoke almost every language, but they were stuck in English. I realized that they were Fulanis. Those who were speaking Dagare spoke perfect Dagare, but of course, when the Fulani is speaking Dagare or English, you will be able to tell that this is a foreigner.
He has some issues with the way the exercise was conducted.
For me, I would have suggested that all the victims who are brought here to identify them should also be masked from head to toe, so that you cannot also be identified by these armed robbers.
The acting public relations officer of the Upper West Regional Police Command, ASP Edmond Nyamiche, however, defended the identification exercise style.
Those people identifying robbers, I don't know, I'm not supposed to. You only come and then this is identify. But if you close your eyes, I think, to my view, I think the identification will be very difficult. You just come out boldly and then identify them. The region is a small place, and it's like it's a small community. Everybody know each other, and that Tijabuni issue too is also working. So he wouldn't go home and then will be disturbed by others that, oh, it is you who has gone to identify this one. So you are.
Rafiq Salam filed this report from WA.
Well, we're coming back to the capital. Demolition work on a weak 5-story building at Amrahia has begun. The building was seized by the Adentan Municipal Assembly on the 8th November after the Melcombe disaster.
Resident engineer of the Adentan Municipal Assembly, Victor Mensah, in a telephone conversation with Joy News earlier today, said there have been some delays in acquiring the demolition wrench balls needed for the demolition, and as such, the Assembly and the family reached an agreement to start the process with manual labor. When the news team got to the site on Friday afternoon, 2 laborers were seen on the last floor pulling down the walls of the building. Their tool for the job was wood, which proved to us that the building was weaker than we thought. What was left on the floor were mostly pillars. Another thing we witnessed was that laborers used wooden ladders to get to the top because the stairs for the building was part of the other structures that collapsed last year. This method would be used until the family are able to acquire the equipment needed.
And we're still in the capital. A new king, they say, comes with a new law. President Mahama has not just released new names into substantive ministerial positions, but given all indications of a major shift from existing ministerial portfolios. Now, political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agredako, says the president appointment hints of a balance between a youthful and experienced side, raised through a strategic successive plan of sort by the NDC administration. He has some analysis on the new appointment.
What I see is that he's marrying youthful side versus people with experience. And I believe that he's very sensitive to the fact that if you are really in government and you really want to do well, you must strike a balance between the youthful, I mean, those perhaps who have current, plus those who have been in there for a very long time, who have been in politics, have the experience, have the wherewithal, have the competences to be able to chart a new. Look at the Constitution. There is only one minister whose name is mentioned, that there shall be an Attorney General who will also be a Minister of Justice, and who will be the government chief legal advisor. All the others, he said, the president shall appoint other such ministers that will help him prosecute his agenda. And what it means is that that position is of critical importance. You say that, well, you have to appoint people just because they come from different regions. How do you want to say that, how do you want to demonstrate that you are interested in the diversity that the country brings? By tapping into the opportunities that diversity brings. That is what I can see. And we have resources, human resources are widely distributed. They are dispersed in this country. And so one way by which you can make a group of people feel that they are part of the process is making sure that they are adequately represented in the decision-making process. And even when that is done, resource distribution will not be skewed against anybody, because some political scientists have argued that where you sit inevitably determines where you stand. And so if we are interested in that, then we must have some representative system that will give meaning to the diversity that we have in the society, because nobody is a paradigm of virtue.
You're still watching Joy News at 8 with me, Gifty and Apia. We'll take a very quick breather here. We will return with some more stories. Please stay. Joy News at 8. You're welcome back. President John Dramani Mahama left Ghana to Ivory Coast for an emergency ECOWAS summit on Mali today. A statement signed by presidential spokesperson John Abdoulaye Djinapo yesterday said the emergency summit is also to formulate strategies for the speedy restoration of peace and constitutional order in Mali. Presidential correspondent Seth Kwame Boateng is with the presidential entourage and joins us via Skype. Hello, Seth.
Hello, Gifty.
Yes, Seth. Thanks for joining us. What time did you arrive in Ivory Coast, and what has been happening there since?
Well, we got here about an hour ago. The president was met at the airport by the Ivorian president. Right now, we are going through registration to get the necessary accreditation for tomorrow's program.
Okay.
And per what I have seen, the various ECOWAS heads of state are here to reiterate their commitment and to tell the Malian government that they support them and they will stand by them and they will provide all the necessary resources needed for them to combat the crime going on in their country. So that is the reason why we are here.
Right, Seth. So you mentioned that you've seen some of the participants around, but do we have international partners like France, for instance?
Where we are now, I've not seen them, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe tomorrow. Right now, we, the press, we are going through a registration process. Right. So as you can see in the registration is underway, and various media houses here are going through the registration process for the necessary accreditation for tomorrow's program. So that is the case here in Abidjan.
Right. So, Seth, from indications, how does the 16-member community plan to tackle the deterioration security situation that's in Mali?
They will be using the various army to support the UN and the ECOWAS one here. But I don't have detail on that. As you know, Ghana, we have contributed 120 to come and help. So other countries, member countries, will also be helping in that direction.
All right, Seth. Thank you very much for joining us via Skype over there. We wish you well and do take care of yourself.
Thank you very much.
So that is Seth Kwame Boateng from Ivory Coast live on Skype. Well, moving on with other stories, the United Nations Residence Coordinator says Ghana's success story on maternal mortality reduction must be told at next week's African Union Summit. She was at the castle today to present her outfit report on maternal mortality in Ghana and the way forward. Ms. Sando Rajon urged President John Mahama to highlight the strategies Ghana has adopted to reverse these deaths. President Mahama will attend the upcoming African Union Summit next week in Ethiopia. Maternal mortality is one of the issues to be discussed. Ms. Sandora Joan wants the president to make clear at the meeting Ghana's commitment to eradicating the phenomenon of maternal mortality within the context of the accelerated reduction of maternal mortality initiative.
We're here basically just to let you know about the initiative so that you can report on it at the Africa Union Summit and look in terms of how we continue with this. Dr. Ebenezer will give you feedback as to where we are in terms of how it is implemented in Ghana. I think
went around all the 10 regions and attendance of the district executive, the traditional, the global analysis. So we are here to present this document to you and remind the district chief executives of their commitments. And that is one thing that we believe that will help resolve the issues of maternal health.
President Mahama said he will continue to lead the crusade to drastically reduce the occurrence. He promised to provide the necessary resources to ensure Ghana maintained its track record in reducing maternal deaths.
Maternal mortality remains one of the MDGs in which we are lagging behind, and are in danger of not meeting the target if we don't work with. And over the last several years, we've been working together with you, the EU, and other partners to see how we can raise and come up with strategies that can appreciably reduce death of women during childbirth.
According to him, it is possible Ghana could achieve the MDG goal on maternal mortality if we work hard as a country. Well, the First Lady, Lordina Mahama, has presented a 12-seater Hyundai minibus to the Sunyani Traditional Council in Sunyani. The Hyundai minibus, which is estimated to cost about $30,000, was presented on the First Lady's behalf by the Minister-designate for Health, Sherry Aite.
The presentation was in fulfillment of the First Lady's promise to the Sunyani Traditional Council following a request during the 2012 electioneering campaign. It was also in appreciation for the support and prayers of the Council to the victory of President John Dramani Mahama. Sherry Aite noted that as the daughter of Bono Hafo, Lordina Mahama would continue to contribute her quota towards the region's development. She appealed to the Sunyani Traditional Council to support President Mahama to develop the country. The paramount chief of Sunyani, Nana Pusuma Asor Nkrawire, expressing his appreciation to the First Lady, said this is the second time a National Democratic Congress government has fulfilled promises made to the chiefs and people of the area. He recalled the promise by late President John Evans Atta Mills to establish the University of Energy and Natural Resources in the region during his 2008 campaign. Nana Bosoma proposed that a Sunyani Ring Road, when constructed, should be named after the late president. Nesta Kafuya Joma's report.
Well, it is said that the price for education is high. In developing countries like Ghana, it can skyrocket. Children have lost their lives in gruesome ways in their quest for education. In one of the small towns between Tamale and Savelugu, children walk miles to school, but for them, it is not exactly the problem. There are bigger concerns they want addressed. Here is a profile of Duko in the northern region. We set out on our way to the inlands behind the bubbling Tamale township. We spot clusters of pupils walking home. Their books, neatly tucked in polythene bags, sit tight on their heads or fit snugly in their armpit. They do this trek every day.
So if someone have fun, take me lift, that one there is accepted, but there's no any car taking me today. The time I go to the school, my teachers will be in the class teaching. So I am not taking the lesson, I'm not feeling the lesson clearly. Okay, we are always telling Haji Amir Bafuro to give us GSS. Always, every year, she will come and said that maybe 2 years or 2 months later, they will started building the GSS. How long last the thing will not done.
The distance is very far because always and every day we set out on foot to school, and this thing is very painful to us. The Haji Amir Bafuro, our member of parliament. Yes, they have been telling them always, but they didn't take any action against it. Our main problem now is electricity. We don't have any electricity, and this also affects the students. We cannot get lights to read, so this also lead we the students to fail in times. So this is a very big problem for us.
I beg a lift. If anybody take me, I want it. If anybody didn't take me, I walk back to school. I want to tell them that they should give us a light and a water.
Around them is the sparse savanna wilderness. Their home, Duko, is quite far from Kanshegu, where the school is, about half an hour's journey on foot. They led us into town. A beautiful school welcomes us into a rather small Duko township. A predominantly farming community, 61-year-old Duko Na says they need help to pursue irrigation farming.
We are lacking electricity. Now, if we start from Tamale to Savalo, it's only this community that is not having lights. Someone to provide them source of water so that they can practice their irrigation farming always.
Okay. Electricity poles and wires hang all over town, but beside the mosque, which uses a solar power, there is no electricity. A phenomenon some residents blame for the poor academic performance of their children.
If we have electricity, a student can learn at night. But because electricity is not there, it has affected us, and then the passing is not good for us. We have one standard pipe. The time that we have one, the population was small, and the houses also is small. But now the houses have increased and the population also increased. Here to Savalo is 5.5 miles. If a child sick or an old man got sick, we have to find a motor. If the child can ride, we have to carry him from a motorbike or a lorry. Or good, if government can give us clinic here, it will help us a lot. Our women, they are traders. If they are going to grind, they have to send it to Kanshegu or Yulonai to mill it. If we have electricity, maybe some can get can stable that grinding mill for the woman to grind and without travel to long journey to mill their things.
Polygyny is normal here. These extended households accommodate men, their wives, and the multiplicity of offspring. At least there is enough food to go around, but most babies are either born at home or on the way to a hospital in distant Savelugu. There is no health center in this town. In the chronicle of their needs, electricity comes tops. The poles are available, so perhaps power can be connected easily. Electricity could facilitate work for the women in their shea butter production and help pupils study to pass their examinations. Most importantly, the people of Duko believe a JHS in their town will make progress easier. Perhaps the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority could help irrigate farms here and look into providing a health post. Their needs may sound a mouthful, but on the larger scale, they are linked to food security, maternal mortality, education, and dignity for all, the ultimate aim of the Millennium Development Goals and in any society which cares about its people. Gifty Ando Apia for Joy News. And so we are back from Duko in the northern region. We'll take a very quick breather here. We'll return with the business report.
I always want the best for my children. That's why I trust New Geisha with extracts from nature, like aloe vera, because it cares for my family's skin, naturally. New Geisha naturally cares for your family's skin.
What makes you a man? Is it the money you have, the women, the luxury, the cars? Or is it how responsible you are, how family-oriented and dedicated you are? Now, what makes you a man? Is it your capacity to do the normal, strive for average, or perform the extraordinary? Or is it how tall you can stand when others have fallen? Kalahari Beaters.
Now that is what makes you a real man. It's the feeling of standing tall when others have fallen. It is making sure life gives you all the satisfaction you deserve.
Rise to the occasion. Drink Kalahari Bitters, another quality product from Casapreco.
Welcome to the Business Report. Leaders of the STC Workers Union have met Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT this morning to discuss issues pertaining to the non-payment of contributions deducted from workers' salaries. The meeting also touched briefly on the state of affairs concerning STC's indebtedness to Prudential Bank.
Chairman of the Senior Staff Association, Seth Kwame Martin, tells Joy News SNIT says it is not responsible for settling the contributions, but rather management of STC is.
We had information from our management that SNIT has mandated that anybody that STC owns should refer it to SNIT. So we wrote a letter to that effect to SNIT, and then unfortunately we had a reply from them saying that ours was not part of it, and therefore we should demand it from our management. The salary arrears has been settled, and we're 4 months, we had 4 month arrears, and then so SNIT paid 6 months. So they paid the 4 month arrears and then paid 2 months advance.
Seth Kwame Martin says they have received information the SNIT board has mandated SNIT to settle STC's troublemaking debt. And since the over $3 million debt to Prudential Bank nearly led to the auctioning of some STC assets, it falls within the category.
We know that SNIT are in the process of paying. In fact, even we spoke to the officer we spoke to has said that SNIT had their board had mandated them to pay monies that will bring trouble to STC. That is those that have gone to court and whatever. And Prudential thing we all know has gone to court, and therefore they were going to auction the place. So I believe by now they might have paid, but we don't know. I don't know offhand, and I cannot confirm it because that is with the management level and then that of SNIT.
Meanwhile, a Joy News source at SNIT is unable to confirm media reports that debt with Prudential Bank has been fully settled. The situation is becoming dicey as the source is only unable to confirm the existence of one Isaac Dochi, supposedly the operations manager for SNIT, who is quoted in some aspects of the media as saying SNIT has fully settled the Prudential Bank debt and is also in talks with other creditors.
The Ghana Revenue Authority says it will intensify its distress action to recover money owed by recalcitrant corporate entities. Samuel Bentel, Chief Revenue Officer of Ghana Revenue Authority, gave the warning after a team of officials from the large taxpayer office sealed off the offices of two entities, Glade Digital and Black Gold Limited, for non-payment of VAT.
The two entities owed the Ghana Revenue Authority more than 20,000 Ghana cedis in taxes. Three other corporate entities, namely Best Time Press, Quick Fit Service Center and Rockfield Limited, which the team visited to enforce the action, promptly issued checks to settle their indebtedness to avoid their offices being closed. The five companies together owed more than 60,000 Ghana cedis in taxes. Chief Revenue Officer of Ghana Revenue Authority, Mr. Bentel, said the GRA will stay execution of the distress action pending final payment. He said some of the companies had consistently failed to pay the monies owed despite numerous reminders and appeals, and this had led to the distress action being mounted in line with the Value Added Tax Act. Mr. Bentel explained the action was the last tool of mobilization that the Ghana Revenue Authority could use to collect monies owed it, adding the companies would be given an ultimatum to pay, and if they failed, the authority will take custody of their assets and sell them to defray the taxes. He added the exercise is aimed at ensuring businesses comply with the law and honor their tax obligations promptly. He urged the business community and other firms who find themselves in similar situations to quickly settle their tax indebtedness.
U.S. Bank Morgan Stanley has said it swung back to profit in the fourth quarter of 2012, a turnaround it described as a pivotal point.
Morgan Stanley reported a net profit of $481 million in the last 3 months of the year, compared to a loss of $275 million earlier. Revenue jumped 37% to $7.5 billion. The bank, which has been shedding staff, earned more in fees for financial services. Shares jumped 5.5% in early trading. The profit included a net tax benefit of about $155 million. Rival U.S. banks Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase both reported sharp raises in profits on the back of strong performances by their investment banking arms earlier this week. Citigroup also said its profits rose despite $2.32 billion in one-off charges. But Bank of America reported a decline in quarterly profits after it took another financial hit on bad mortgage debt.
Up next, we tell you what to expect when you go to the market and some tips on investment. Angry youth today went on rampage in Tamale, venting their spleen about the supposed exclusion of the Tamale South Member of Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, from ministerial nominees. The angry youth, who gave their name as the NDC Youth Network for Peace, tore down and bent billboards that bore pictures of President Mahama and Inusa Hussaini. It was widely speculated that Mahama Idrisu, the caretaker communications, Haruna Idrisu, the caretaker communications minister, would be assigned the newly created oil and gas ministry. However, following the appointment of Ama Kofi-Bua, after agitations by Western Region chiefs demanding an indigene to head the ministry, some of Mr. Idrisu's followers accused the president of bowing to pressure from the chiefs. Haruna Idrisu swiftly condemned the actions and distanced himself from the agitations with a call for calm. This evening we have on the line our correspondent from the North, Mohammed Rashid, who who is secretary to the paramount chief of Tamale, and we're going to find out some, make him answer some questions for us. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us here on Joy News at 8. Now, what is the Skins' reaction to this morning's incident?
I would say it's unfortunate because it's unfortunate what happened this morning. The reason is that Honorable Haruna Idrisku has been excluded from the presidential nominees. And I think this is not the first time such things have been happening to other people in the various regions. So if it is happening to our dear brother, I mean, this is not the way to address it. And who even told them that he will be excluded completely? I don't think their behavior is the best.
So would you be able to describe the atmosphere over there in Tamale to our viewers?
For now, the atmosphere is very calm, you know. Even when they went on rampage, it didn't even take them 1 hour. It was just about destroying billboards of NDC, President Mahama, and what have you. But I think what saddens me most is that if you think Western regions have done that and presidents have bowed down to pressure, must you also do the same? To me, two wrongs can never be right, you know. So let's leave Westerners to do, Western region, people of Western region to do whatever they want. We are not our behavior should be different.
Right. Thank you very much. I believe that's what you're telling your subject. Thank you very much for your time on Joy News. Well, that is someone from Tamale who's closely knitted to the Skins, giving us an atmosphere of what is happening there. Up next is international news. Rashidat Babakadiri is my name. Good evening and welcome to the sports segment of the news. Now, finally, the hour is 9. 16 of the continent's best teams to converge in South Africa for Africa's biggest football fiesta. Opening games get underway tomorrow with all teams hopeful of making history. Now, here's a Joy Sports preview of opening day matches.
Africa get the competition underway as hosts, hoping to give Cape Verde a baptism of fire. The Bafana are very fit and hope that the home field advantage will take them all the way to the finals. Playing in their very first AFCON, Cape Verde shocked many by beating Cameroon to qualify. Angola will take on Morocco in the other Group A fixture. Both games will be played at the Soccer City Stadium in Johannesburg. Ghana and DR Congo will begin their Group B campaign on Sunday when they play in Port Elizabeth at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. The Black Stars have a strong midfield that can beat the best, but they need to figure out how to score. Player to watch is the young up-and-coming star, Christian Achu. After that game, Mali will take on Niger at the same venue. Group C will begin their campaign on Monday when defending champion Zambia take to the field against the less fancied Black Antelopes of Ethiopia. The second match of the day will be the fierce battle between Nigeria and Burkina Faso. Both games will be played at the Imbombela Stadium in Nelspruit. The Royal Bafokeng Stadium will host the final opening day games on Tuesday, January 22, when 2012 losing finalists La Côte d'Ivoire do battle with Togo, while North African neighbors Tunisia and Algeria take on each other.
It's a goal! Tunisia have equalised!
Now, Africa's goalie Boubacar Bari has been looking ahead to the continent's biggest football fiesta, which begins just tomorrow. Courtesy Super Sports, here are excerpts of Bari's projection of the 2013 AFCON tourney.
C'est vrai que For the Ivorian nation, it's very important. It's true, we have a great generation. Since the violence that happened in Abidjan, we've done everything we can to restore Ivory Coast's reputation. The events were very sad because there were lots of people killed and some horrible things happened. For the image of the Ivory Coast, we had to, via football, give an image that is different to what people were thinking. So we've done everything to get there, and all the Ivorian public is behind us, because they say this generation deserves to win something before it disappears. We try to do our best at every Cup of Nations. It's not easy. The Cup belongs to every nation that takes part, because everyone wants to win it.
We now turn our attention to Ghana's neighbors from the north, Burkina Faso, who would want to improve their unimpressive run at the AFCON. Safe pair of hands, Dauda Diakite has been speaking to Super Sports.
The Cup of Nations is a great African event and all African footballers want to take part in it. For me also, it is very important for all African players to play in the tournament. For me, it's something very special. I am fully focused on taking part in the tournament. For me, it's very important to get out of the group. Cup of Nations, we're confident, but after the first match we get downhearted, so we don't get past the first round. So I'll win group stage and then we'll see what happens. Our group is very difficult because we have Zambia who won the...
Now, before I take leave of you, Coach Claude Leroy will stay on to join the Democratic Republic of Congo at the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations, even though he is still protesting. And the Frenchman has been persuaded by officials of the DR Congo over his decision to quit the Leopards with just 2 days before they face Ghana in their opening Group B game in South Africa. Leroy resigned on Thursday night in a row with the Federation and government over bonus payments for the entire DR Congo contingent for the tournament. And on that note, I end sports for tonight. My name is Rashida Baba Kadiri. Gladys Ose already comes by with Showbiz. Stay tuned.
Thank God it's Friday. My name is Gladys Osei Oredu and thanks for joining me on Showbiz tonight. Well, so popular Ghanaian actor and comedian Kofi Edu, also known as Ejako, is in the grips of the law as the Accra Circuit Court has issued a warrant for his arrest for allegedly defrauding someone of 3,800 Ghana cedis through false pretense.
Oh, sir. Sound capacity high.
The ace comedian and actor Ejako has so far denied having collected that amount, the 3,800 Ghana cedis, from complainant Stephen Kwarten, although he admitted to personally knowing Stephen Kwarten. The warrant, issued in Accra on January 8, 2013, directed the police to arrest Ejako and produce him before the court to answer the charges of fraud leveled against him by a complainant, Stephen Kwarten. According to the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service, COP Prosper Aglo, Ejako had taken 3,800 cedis from Stephen Kwarten under the pretext of helping him travel to the US. It wasn't only Stephen, there were others too. Ejako met his alleged clients at the busy internet to inform them that they had been refused the American visas, but quickly promised to secure them either Canadian or Australian visas. Well, the thrust of the matter is that Ejako, the visa contractor, was never able to produce any visa to any of his clients, and this has led to the issue of an arrest warrant to bring the comedian to book.
Some vagabond guy.
Quite an unfortunate story there. Well, but it is the hope of the creative art industry in Ghana to have a ministry solely set up to manage the industry. By so doing, they are sure the industry will see a lot of developmental growth. And guess what? Veteran musician Jedubile Ambule has expressed interest in heading that ministry.
You saw me standing alone without a dream in my heart.
A little over a week ago, Afro-pop singer Kojo Inchi expressed his 3 wishes for the new year. One of the wishes was to see the creative industry under its own ministry. A couple of days ago, movie producer Socrates Safo also mentioned that it would be fantastic to have a ministry solely dedicated to managing the affairs of the creative arts industry. Once that ministry is created, there will be the need for a minister. So Ace Highlife and Afro-jazz musician Jedubile Ambule has already started lobbying for the ministerial position of the Creative Arts Ministry if it should ever come to be. He says he will bring his experience in the arts to bear on such a ministry and help towards improving the lot of musicians and others in the creative arts industry. Jeduble Ambele has a rich experience in music which spans over 3 decades.
So we have a lot of interesting programs coming your way on Multi TV. For instance, enjoy an exciting coverage of the AFCON 2013 tournament on all multimedia platforms, including Multi TV, Joy FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, Inshura FM, all our platforms, enjoy online, multitvworld.com, and have all the fun you want to have in football. And again, join us tomorrow on Showbiz Review. My name is Gladys Osei-Oligi. Thanks so much for your company.
That does it for the news, but before we leave you, let's give you some comments coming from our social media platform. We posted a video of the accident that happened today, and these are some of the comments they've been putting up on our wall. Prosper Senor says, 2 precious lives needlessly wasted. What a tragedy. May God give the grieving families the heart to bear it. Ibrahim Bote says, where were they from at the time of the morning? 19-year-old. Sarah Na Amponsadodu responds to Ibrahim asking, when you get to know where they were coming from, will that change anything? I'm wondering what your motive is for asking this question. May their souls rest in peace. Unfortunate one there. But let's wrap up the news for tonight. Well, 2 students of the University of Accra of Ghana died in the early hours of today when their taxi collided with a truck at the Okponglo traffic light. A few meters from the university, one of the students has been confirmed as the daughter of Assin South NPP MP Professor Dominic Fobi. The United Nations has commended Ghana for strides made in reducing maternal death. UN country coordinator urged President Mahama to share this achievement at the next AU summit in Ethiopia. You heard a special feature on the development challenges of Duko, a small town between Tamale and Savelugu in the northern region. In business, the Ghana Revenue Authority intensifies its distress action in collecting all tax indebtedness from defaulting companies. Also in showbiz, ace Ghanaian comedian and actor Ejako is in trouble as the Accra Circuit Court issues a warrant for his arrest over fraud charges. On the international front, Islamist fighters have withdrawn from 2 towns in central Mali following French airstrikes there. Well, for more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. That's all for tonight. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Do have a pleasant night and join us again at 11 for an update.